Good day, everyone. Before we commence, I would like to introduce our topic for today, operational auditing, its fundamental principles and techniques, as well as the 7 E's framework. As organizations continually evolve and modernize, it is imperative that internal audit adapts accordingly. These concepts will aid us in assessing performance, enhancing process, and delivering genuine value to the organization. With that, let us begin our discussion. So, given that modern organizations are more complex than ever, operational auditors require a straightforward yet powerful method to structure their evaluations. So, these were the 7 E's model, proves and invaluable. It provides a clear framework for understanding performance, stakeholder expectations, and the key components that drive operational success. So let us now delve into the 7 E's effective operational audit. The idea behind 7 E's equals success is that an organization performs well when it focuses on 7 key elements. The 7 E's suggest that an organization succeeds when it pays attention to 7 core elements. These help auditors assess effectiveness, efficiency, ethics, and alignment with goals. In short, the 7 E's provide a clear picture of what drives success and where improvements are needed. For the introduction, nowadays many organizations struggle with basics. We have more meetings but less real communication, more tools but less time, and tons of data that don't always give us clear insights. At the same time, customers expect convenience, good prices, and excellent service every time fall short and competitors take over. This is why the 7 E's model is useful. It gives us a simple way to look at what's really working in an organization and what isn't. When we do an operational audit, the 7 E's help us focus on management practices, processes, and stakeholder treatment, covering customers, employees, suppliers, lenders, and even the environment. Supply Essentially, it is a practical framework to guide us in improving efficiency, effectiveness, and overall performance. So now let me introduce you the 7 E's: effectiveness, efficiency, economy, excellence, ethics, equity, and ecology. So now let us take a closer look at each of the 7 E's and see how they contribute to our organizational success. So first, we have the effectiveness. It measures how well an organization achieves its goals and objectives. So it shows if the organization is on track and fulfilling its mission. Next, it compares planned outcomes with actual results. So this checks if what was intended in is actually happening in practice. Third, it helps identify trends and monitor consistent goal accomplishments. So it look at performance over time to see if the organization is improving, declining, or staying steady. Internal auditors assess if policies and procedures are relevant, useful, and aligned with objectives. So this ensures that rules and processes support the organization's goals and are not outdated or unnecessary. Next, we have efficiency. So efficiency is using resources wisely to achieve goals. It shows how effectively an organization turns inputs like time, money, and materials into outputs. It has low efficiency causes waste and lower productivity. So if resources are not used well, the organization loses money, slow growth, and underperforms. Right people, proper training, and modern tools boost efficiency. So hiring skilled employees, training them, and providing good equipment helps achieve more with less. Managers and culture should support high performance and rewards. So encouraging results, setting expectations, and recognizing achievements motivates employees to work efficiently. Next, we have the economy. Economy refers to the cost paid for resources. So economy is about how much we spend to get what we need. It's not just about buying things, it's about paying the right price for resources we use. Next, let's focus on value, not just price. So we shouldn't just buy the cheapest option. Sometimes cheap items break or wear out quickly, which ends up costing more. So it's better to buy based on value. Next, it assess overall value. So when we buy something, we should consider the whole package, like warranties, delivery speed, reliability, and how long it will last. Next, it applies to good and financial inputs. So this idea isn't just for tools or materials. It also applies to money we borrow or invest. So we need to make sure all resources are used wisely. And and the cost should be lower than results. So whatever we spend on resources should give us more in return, like profits, efficiency, or long-term benefits. That's what economy is all about. Next one, we have here the excellence. So it focuses on high quality work. Quality is the key for success in all markets. So why quality is important? Because delivering high quality work ensures the organization succeeds and stay competitive no matter the market. It avoid competing only on price. Low cost strategies can be risky and unsustainable. So, isn't it lowering prices enough to attract customers? Not really, because competing only on cost can shrink profits and is risky, especially if others can undercut you. Next, measure and reward quality. People improve what is measured and recognized. So, how do we make sure people focus on quality? People naturally improve what is measured and rewarded. So, tracking quality and recognizing efforts is essential. And apply to quality internally too. Treat co-workers as customers to maintain high standards. So, isn't quality only for customers? So, that is a no. Because treating co-workers and internal process like customers ensures the entire organization maintains high standards. Next, we have here the ethics. So ethics is a rules of behavior about what is morally right or wrong. So it is about knowing what's right and wrong and guiding behavior in both personal and organizational decisions. So why ethics matters to auditors? For auditors, why should internal auditors care about ethics? So because ethics affect how decisions are made, how people treat each other, and how rules and controls are applied. So in everyday challenges, what kind of ethical questions do organized face? So things like fair pay, worker safety, environmental responsibility, tax practices, diversity, and whatever to follow high standards, even if local rules are weak. So for auditors' rule, how can auditors help with this? So by understanding ethical principles, they can guide the organization to make responsible choices and improve policy. So I have here three examples of ethics. First, honesty. So, what does honesty look like in business? So, it means reporting financial results truthfully and not exaggerating profits to mislead investors. Next, fairness. So, how do we show fairness at work? So by treating all employees equally without discrimination based on gender, age, religion, or ability, and responsibility. So what does responsibility mean for a company? It is following laws, protecting the environment, and supporting community programs while running the business. So before proceeding to the next E, let me discuss first the two approaches in ethics. So we have here the teleological or consequential approaches. So, what does teleological or consequential ethics mean? So, this is about looking at the outcomes of an action. If the result produces the greatest good for the greatest number, it considered ethical. So, for example, utilitarianism is one approach. So, business often use cost-benefit analysis to decide what actions create the most overall benefit. And another example, a real world example in this approach is we have The Ford Pinto case, which Ford prioritized cost savings over safety, resulting in deaths and injuries. Even though the financial calculation seemed efficient, the ethical outcome was disastrous. Next, the deontological or prescriptive approaches. So this approach focuses on duty and principles, not consequences. Actions are right if they follow moral rules. So this approach has the personal character and that is virtue ethics. It emphasizes traits like honesty, fairness, courage, integrity, and compassion. So being ethical isn't just about rules, but it's all about who we are. So I have a question. Does culture affect ethics? Of course, yes. In this approach, the ethical relativism says that what's moral in one culture may not be in another, but some acts like deception, coercion, or harming others are widely considered wrong. And my last question would be, is following the law enough? No, because being ethical goes beyond legality. Organizations must set clear um, ethical standards, encourage adherence, and monitor compliance. So these are the differences between theological and deontological ethics. So teleological ethics looks at result while deontological ethics look at rules and duties. So both approaches guide organizations but in different ways. So let's proceed on the ethical guiding principles, the six ethical lenses. First, the rights and duties, which we ensure that our actions respect the fundamental entitlements of all stakeholders, like employees, customers, and the community, and that the organization fulfills its responsibility. Next, justice, where it is the guidance of fairness, equity, and impartiality. Next, the utilitarian analysis, which cost benefit analysis focused on maximizing overall organizational and societal well being even if the results in minor negative impacts for a few. Next, the care. Um, Care focuses on maintaining and strengthening the relationship vital to the company, including those with partners, suppliers, and customers. The virtue that talks about integrity and reputation, and the golden rule by putting ourselves in the shoes of the affected party. We test the fundamental fairness of any decision. So by using these six principles, we ensure that our decisions are not only financially sound but also ethically responsible and justifiable to all stakeholders. Next, E is the equity. So this means treating people with dignity, respect, and fairness at all times. It's not just about following the law, but it's about making sure decisions are transparent and based on merit. So when equity is missing, employees feel discouraged. They start thinking that hard work doesn't matter. On the other hand, when organizations apply equity properly, it trust it's the trust grows. Employees feel valued and productivity improves. So to make equity real, organizations should clearly define job requirements, explain how performance is evaluated, and document hiring and promotion decisions. And as internal auditors, we must check if these fairness practices are truly happening. The ecology. So ecology is not a social responsibility, but as a crucial business driver. For a long time, companies saw environmental concern as a cost of doing business. Sometimes they had to manage to meet regulatory compliance like the Clean Air Act. But that view is outdated. The smartest companies today have realized that ecology is actually a path to greater profits and innovation. And next, for the implications of internal auditors. These implications of the 7 E's for internal auditors. So the 7 E's are not meant to be purely theoretical. They serve as practical guide that helps internal auditors and add meaningful value to the organization. So during every audit, we should ask two key questions. How effective does this area perform based on the 7 E's? And second, what opportunities exist for improvement. So by using this approach, it allows auditor to identify cost savings, recommend faster and more efficient processes, and highlight environmental benefits that support better revenue, reduce waste, and improved public image. So for the summary of this topic, internal auditors often become overwhelmed, resulting in complicated audit scopes and recommendations that do not sufficiently emphasize the proposition for the organization. So to fix this and ensure their work leads to genuine and sustainable success, auditors should use the simple interconnected 7 E's framework. So the 7 E's define the seven core focus areas of successful organizations. So this model helps auditors organize their thoughts, scope their programs, and ensure the recommendations address underlying weaknesses that ultimately improve compliance, risk management, and corporate governance. So I am Divine Sean from this Bachelor of Science in Accountancy 4. Thank you for listening. God bless us all.